Thank you. We have follow-up questions, but there are people at the back who haven't had a chance to ask questions, so perhaps we should just move the microphone to the back there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I just want to make a comment.
Could you please just identify yourself?
I'm Ms. Sheraite, Minister of Environment, Science and Technology from Ghana. Recently, all African ministers for environment met in Nairobi. And I think that we have learned our lessons. We have come a long way. And I think all African governments believe that an adaptation fund must be within the AU. And this should be managed by Africans. And I think that Africa too is worried about accessibility to United Nations Fund to mitigate climate change, issues. Because if we want to talk about how do you meet a decisive, decision, or what kind of quality mitigation do you want to give out, then sometimes we realize that all the United Nations funds, which has been established, we know that there's a lot of money there, but then the bureaucracy for the release of such funds for mitigation, it's so cumbersome. So this is something that we take into Copenhagen, that funds must be readily available. And also, there must be an adaptation fund. We have learned our lessons, and this time we want money in the adaptation fund so that Africans will manage it themselves.
By the African Union.
By the African Union.
Thank you. There was another question at the back there, or if not, then we can take the follow-up question here in front.
Just a comment. I didn't say my name before. I'm Mano da Silva from World Food Programme. And just on comment on this question of funding, because I come from being a national government in the past, and I'm in the UN now. I'm from Mozambique. I really believe that the African Union as a whole need to position themselves for Copenhagen in a way that is extremely strong. And if adaptation is not there in the agenda, actually, I strongly believe that actually we should not be there as Africans in Copenhagen. If the agenda is not set in a way that there is a discussion about these things. But on funding, I strongly believe that we need a massive adaptation funding urgently that need to be managed in a way that is efficient, owned by the countries who this fund will serve, but needs to have also a mechanism that is efficient to manage. And, it can be the African Development Bank, can be an institution that have a credibility to be able to do that. Otherwise, it will be difficult even to mobilize the funding. But if in Copenhagen, this issue of the adaptation is financial needs are not addressed, it will be enormous negative blow on the whole rest of the agenda of climate change, because that will take over in the future and will prevent least development countries actually to engage in a positive manner on any measures that will be taken, because there are no right for the world to say we are already developed and the BRIC countries are not relevant for that. They have different interests from the rest of the least development countries. If there is not a way to give a space for the least development countries to be able to develop in a better way than the other ones, but they cannot be contained on their development because the other ones are already developed and there are no space in the planet for them to develop. Yes. And so we need I fully agree with the Minister that adaptation fund, and if that is not agenda, Africa should not go to Copenhagen.
Thank you. I think it's time for us to wrap up. I would just quickly like to ask 1 minute from each of the panelists, just for a closing remark, and I would like, if possible, for them to just say from each and everyone's own perspective what they would like to see happen at Copenhagen from a human aid perspective. So, Professor Bertini, 1 minute, please.
Easy, and that's a rationalization of how we collectively deal with funding of humanitarian/development agencies working for people who are affected by climate change.
Thank you very much. Let's keep it alphabetical. Lesley-Anne Knight.
I go for the increased advocacy around disaster risk reduction and mitigation, and for the humanitarian sector to get its data accurate.
Thank you very much. Saleh, Saeed.
I would go for increased and improved partnerships with the humanitarian actors.
That's also pretty powerful, and you've got the last say today.
I think we would want to see commitments on the part of the developed world, as we've heard many times today. Those who pollute should be held accountable. I think also there needs to be a recognition of the intersection of humanitarian impact and climate change, which I think, while we're discussing it over these 2 days, is not often enough brought into the debate about environment and climate change. And thirdly, I think that we need to really assess new technologies or new uses of technologies, from information technologies, how to use them for everything from early warning systems to tracking supply to tracking weather patterns. I thought the technologies on the weather on the cell towers today is fantastic. The world needs to be looking at new seed varieties for drought resistance given climate change. And we need to look at simple technologies like solar cookers to reduce the amount of firewood that's cut and deforestation that's caused by impoverished people.
Thank you very much. There's a lot of food for thought. And thank you all very, very much for coming here. Thanks for taking part in the debate. And let's hope that in the end it won't just be talking. Let's hope that it's going to actually lead us somewhere. Thank you very much for your time.
Good speech, Lesley.
You too.